Ayubuan. Vanakkam. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the introduction, my Commander of the Army. I think that is perhaps putting me in a difficult situation to give a keynote address because so much of experience and qualification. But I would humbly tell you that my experience in defense is less than 1 year. By 9th of September, I'm completing my 1 year in this ministry. So don't expect too much, but anyway, I make my keynote address with the knowledge that I gained during this short period of time. Basically, I must first acknowledge the support given by my staff in preparation of this keynote address, particularly the Director General of the National Institute of Security Studies, Mr. Asanga Abegunasekara, Brigadier Mahendra Vijayaratna, and Mr. Engineer Anton Nanayakkara, who is a senior irrigation engineer, who supported me in preparation of my keynote address. So with these initial remarks, I would like to tell you something about soft power, which I learned during a very short period of time, and try to articulate some ideas so that you can go ahead with your deliberation in next 2 days. Honorable Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka, the Minister of Rural Development, Governors of Provinces, Honorable Ruwan Wijewardena, my State Minister of Defence, Ambassadors, High Commissioners agreed to Sri Lanka, distinguished foreign dignitaries, Honorable Attorney General, Secretaries of the Ministries, Chief of Defence Staff, Commanders of Army, Navy and Air Force, distinguished military officers and guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the keynote address speech at Colombo Defence Seminar 2016 with many distinguished scholars and participants from many countries. And I congratulate the Commander of the Army and the organizers for all the hard work they have taken in this endeavor. I wish the conference a success and hope the deliberation will be of great value to everyone. It was Joseph Nye who said, I quote, "Get smart combining hard and soft power." In today's information age, success is the result not merely of whose army wins, but also whose story wins, unquote. In the post-Westphalian world order, hard power has become increasingly counterproductive, as witnessed in the recent Arab Spring. Soft power has gained widespread currency and is now regarded as an important and comprehensive indicator of national strength. Soft power is a state's ability to influence the actions of others through persuasion and attraction, rather than coercion. Hard power in the form of carrots or sticks is the military and economic might utilized by a nation state to coerce desired outcomes from other political bodies. The 6th Colombo Defence Seminar centers on the importance of soft power in its influence on global issues, highlighting the importance of persuasive diplomacy in the dawn of an information age dominated by increasing flows of information and ideas. This year's defense seminar is significant for another factor. This seminar is held at a moment when the first ever national security think tank was established under the vision of our President, His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena, and our National Security Council. As the chair of the Institute of National Security Studies, I invite the scholars to work closely with the new think tank. Several years after the end of the war, on terrorism, our leadership has realized how important it is to share the knowledge gained over the decades with the international community. In the post-IS age of widespread terror, our in-house expertise on defeating terrorists can be of immense benefit for the rest of the world. Today, the global debate is dominated by vitality of ensuring national, international, and human security, given the traditional, non-traditional security issues that sprung up in the short span of last couple of years. From the insurgencies in Syria to the Bangladesh attacks, it is vital to understand that this clash of civilization is in fact a clash of ideologies, and thereby reminiscence that defeating an ideology is far more difficult than physically defeating an enemy at a battleground. The persuasive power of 19-year-old Malala was able to move populations by an ideology against terrorism. The diffusion of thoughts against her offenders gave rise to a very attractive ideology against terrorism, to which many people responded to. In my view, soft power is important in preventing the emergence and spread of transnational security issues of grave nature such as terrorism and separatism. Whether the soft power can fight a security issue once it has emerged depends on the issue itself. If it is a hard security issue such as terrorism, soft power is powerless in fighting it. The concept of smart power, which mix both soft and hard power strategies, might be best solution in such instances. At its core, soft power rests on ability to shape the preferences of others through intangible national assets such as attractive personalities, cultures, political values, and institutions and policies that are seen as legitimate or having moral authority. This was a strategy utilized by our Western and Eastern friends. For example, post-World War II movement towards free trade and diplomacy was the direct result of the world wanting to emulate America's culture, institutions, and values, which was a consequence of America's soft power strategy in exerting global influence. On the other hand, in 2014, the Chinese President Xi Jinping highlighted the importance of increasing Chinese soft power to better communicate China's message to the world in order to challenge the growing debate on China threat and pose itself as a winning power. Importantly, soft power is more than just ability to influence others. Influence, after all, can also rest on the hard power of threats or payments. Although persuasion and ability to move others by argument are integral elements of soft power, it is the ability to attract, the attraction that often leads to acquiescence, which is the defining factor of soft power. Soft power Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a rich soil with diverse cultural entities, which is often underutilized in our cultural diplomatic relations. Understanding this importance of cultural diplomacy, late Lakshman Kadiragama commissioned a book called The World of Stanley Kirinde, on a great artist of Sri Lanka, which was a cornerstone of the state foreign policy. However, this approach of attraction and consequently acquisition of others in global stage have not been developed in Sri Lanka, and this is the necessity that we need to stress upon. Our president and the government is following an Asia-centric balanced foreign policy, further strengthening relationship with both West and the East. To see a perfect balance, you see a perfect balance in our foreign policy. However, there are many ways soft power can support this initiative. Public diplomacy. The best form of public diplomacy is our culture. The multiculturalism embedded in Sri Lankan linguistics, religions, and even law even the law, are strong points of forming both global image as an advocate of promoting multicultural security. From the examples of tolerance and respect for others' religions, ethnicities, and persisted in the past, from the removal of figure of cow in the moonstone of Polonnaruwa. That's a very significant fact in this process. To the influence of the Hindu culture in Kandyan temples, we can assert the ideas of ancient Ceylonese people in the lines of ethnic and religious amenity and coexistence. It will also serve the means of developing such a rich multicultural setting and civic identity within the nation which has been threatened by incidents in the recent past. Economic diplomacy. Economic diplomacy is another arena which could enable Sri Lanka to maintain a global presence, irrespective of its developing status. Supplemented by strong institutions conducive to development and investment, we can reach greater strength in terms of economic prosperity as well as economic diplomacy. The power of youth in our human capital is yet to be vitalized. Empowering the youth in terms of ideation as well as in innovation can ensure sustainable and long-standing soft power policy. Projects of empowerment are tools that can be used with the collaboration of other countries in building resilient and long-term relationships. Military soft power. Military soft power is an extremely important aspect that we are still exploring. It was Winston Churchill who said, I quote, "The empires of the future are the empires of the mind," unquote, at the Harvard University in 1943. Churchill prophetically saw the importance of the ability of individuals to influence culture and of culture to influence individuals. Churchill's use of common culture, language, values to persuade the United States to join Britain as ally, and use of history, art, writing, and thinking to appeal to the rest of the world to make him a completely different personality from the war soldier. This is an excellent example for Sri Lanka. Having deterred terrorism by hard power, we are still in the process of reconciliation. We are a nation with successful historical experience of reconciliation ranging from Vijaya's kingdom to colonial reconciliation. I think I explained this one on the reconciliation at the independence some time back. I have no time to explain the entire gamut of experience that the Sri Lankan had in reconciliation. Thus, the military assistance in reconciliation, rehabilitation, as well as rebuilding disrupted communities is vital. Moreover, humanitarian assistance in the event of natural disaster is an integral step in developing national as well as the global image of humanitarian. Furthermore, the exchange, diffusion, collaboration of ideas, lessons learned, the knowledge with the security institutions across the globe equally envisage better connectivity and ensure the high soft power capabilities. Establishment of the defense think tank is thus one of the initial steps in developing our military software agenda in the line of such collaboration. The massive reorganization of the world order and the rapid fluidity that we see in global system has made it very difficult for the government to address issues, especially those related to security, in a comprehensive and a meaningful manner. This is largely because of the toolkits that the bureaucracies have today for addressing security issues rely more on the use of hard power. They are too rigid to handle the subtle nuance of these issues related to fluidity of the global system. In this context, soft power is increasingly gaining importance as a vital tool to nip these new security issues in the bud and prevent potential necessities to use hard power security measures after their escalation into a potential security threat. The noteworthy point is understanding the importance of transforming the Sri Lankan identity from a soldier of 30-year war to an advocate of values, culture, institution, art, tourism, education, economic and military capabilities in forming, influencing, and shaping the ideas in the global stage. The information is the age of ideas. Ideas don't respond to guns. They can only be changed, shaped, or informed using soft power. In this light, the soft power is an entity that should be explored at least now than never. Thank you.